Hey guys, we are on video 12. We just got through all the Beatitudes, and I want to start going through the Sermon on the Mount. If you're not familiar with the Sermon on the Mount, that's Matthew chapter 5, 6, and 7. And I just want to go through it slowly but surely, passage by passage. And if you aren't familiar with the Sermon on the Mount, I just want to highly suggest it. It's one of the most important, if not the most important teaching that Jesus gave. It's basically the values of heaven, or more importantly, the values of Jesus. If you want to know how to set your heart before God and men, if you want to live the life that Jesus called you to, if you want to be the salt and light that Jesus called you to be, I'm tipping my hand a little bit, that's what I'm going to talk about today, then we have to live the Sermon on the Mount. Now this is Matthew chapter 5, verses 13 through 16. That's what I'm going through today. Very familiar passage. It says, "You are the salt of the earth, but if salt loses its flavor, how may it be seasoned? It is no longer good for anything, but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." So Jesus gives two analogies, two proclamations for what the believer should be, and two warnings. Now he uses the idea of salt and light. Now salt in the ancient world was a preservative because they didn't have refrigerators, right? So they needed a way to preserve or prevent decay. So Jesus is saying in here, if you want to be salt, he's saying you're the salt, but as salt, you're going to prevent decay of immorality in society. The same way that salt prevents decay from food, right? So it's important that we have this passage in context to the passage before it, the Beatitudes. So what Jesus is saying here is if you live with a pursuit of holiness, of righteousness, of purity, everything that the Beatitudes stands for, if you are taking a stand for righteousness, then you will be a salt, and you'll prevent decay in society from immorality, right? And then he talks about being a light. Now, a light, there can't be any darkness anywhere. So when a light is in a dark room, darkness has to flee, right? It's the same way for a believer who's living out the Sermon on the Mount, who's living out the 8 Beatitudes. So Jesus gives a warning for both of those. He says, don't lose your saltiness, and don't be hid under a basket. Don't hide your light, and don't lose your saltiness. So whatever our context is, wherever we are, we cannot lose our saltiness. We cannot not take a stand for the Beatitudes, for holiness, for purity, for righteousness, for mercy, for everything that the Beatitudes stands for the Sermon on the Mount. We have to take a stand for righteousness. So in the same way, we can't do that. And I'm just